What if the rules for retirement planning just changed and no one sent you the memo? For years, Roth conversions were a straightforward way to save on taxes in retirement. You'd estimate your tax bracket, convert just enough to fill it up, and then call it a day. But now, that strategy is like trying to navigate a bustling city with a map from the 1980s. The tax landscape, it's changed, and the old playbook doesn't just fall short, it could cost you thousands. The smartest retirees I work with, they're doing something different, something completely unique, and it's saving them hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. Let me show you what's changed, how they're adapting, and how you can use these new rules to your advantage. I'm Josh, a CFP and partner at an award-winning retirement-focused firm. I've personally helped over 500 clients navigate these exact kinds of complex retirement decisions. And today, I'm going to share the exact strategies that the savviest retirees are using to stay ahead. The old way of doing Roth conversions, it was simple. Guess your tax bracket, convert, and you're done. For years, this worked quite well. But now, a small miscalculation doesn't just bump you into a higher tax bracket, it can trigger a cascade of financial consequences. One piece knocks into the next, and suddenly your whole tax return looks different. Here's the thing most retirees don't even realize until it's too late. They file their taxes the following year and get hit with a surprise bill. But it doesn't have to really be that way. Let me tell you about Susan. She was diligent, careful, and thought she had her Roth conversion amount dialed in perfectly. But her conversion pushed her income just over the limit of a key deduction. The result, she lost $12,000 tax break and ended up with a bill thousands of dollars higher than what she expected. It was an expensive lesson in how interconnected these new rules have become. So, what's changed? It's a tangle of new legislation, but 3 changes are critical for anyone considering a Roth conversion. First, there's the enhanced senior deduction. Starting in 2025, retirees age 65 and older get an extra $6,000 deduction per person on top of the standard deduction. For a married couple, that's an additional $12,000. Well, it sounds great, right? Lower taxable income and a lower tax bill. But here's the trap. The deduction has a sharp phase out. It's not a gentle slope, it's a cliff. If your income goes even $1 over that threshold, you could lose part or even all of that deduction. If that sounds familiar, it's because Nasty Miss Irma works the exact same way. A Roth conversion you thought was taxed at 22%, suddenly it feels more like 24% or 25% because you lost that deduction without fully realizing it. This is why guesstimating is just so dangerous now. It's not just about tax brackets, it's a multi-dimensional puzzle. But here's the kicker. I see this constantly. Retirees who are trying to do the right thing, but don't realize how interconnected these rules have truly become. Now, let's talk about the tax bracket shifts. This is where the biggest opportunity lies, and it's the one most people are overlooking. The current tax law has created what most are calling a golden window for Roth conversions. The 10% and 12% brackets have significantly widened. By 2026, the 12% could cover over $100,000 of income for a married couple. Let's think about that. You have a huge runway to move money from pre-tax accounts to Roth accounts at some of the lowest tax rates we've seen in years. It's like the government is running a Black Friday sale on taxes. But here's the catch. This window, it's not going to stay open forever. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, they created these brackets, but they are set to expire in the future. If Congress does nothing, these tax rates will revert to their higher pre-2018 levels. The 12% bracket becomes the 15%, the 22% becomes the 25%. That's a big jump. The smartest retirees that I work with aren't doing one giant conversion. They're strategically planning multi-year conversions, sometimes over 5, 10, or even 15 years. By spreading out the conversions, they can maximize the amount they convert while staying firmly inside the 12% bracket each year. Also, they can avoid triggering phase-outs for deductions, credits, or Medicare premiums. And here's one more piece to this. By converting smaller amounts over time, you're not just saving on taxes today. You're also reducing the tax burden on your heirs in the future. When your kids or your grandkids inherit a Roth account, they do not have to pay income taxes on withdrawals. That's a huge advantage, especially if they're in a higher tax bracket than you are now. Finally, let's talk about the SALT cap update. The state and local tax, or SALT, deduction has been a sore spot for years, especially for those in higher tax states like California, New York, New Jersey. The new legislation raises the SALT cap from $10,000 to $40,000. But the $40,000 cap isn't doubled for married couples, so keep that part in mind. It's $40,000 whether you file solo or jointly. And just like the senior deduction, it phases out fast. A poorly planned Roth conversion is the #1 reason high earners accidentally lose this deduction. Here's an example. I had a new client in New York who was thrilled about the higher SALT cap. They thought it would save them thousands. But before they worked with us, they processed a Roth conversion that pushed their income over the phase-out threshold, and they lost most of that deduction. It was a tough lesson, but it highlights why careful planning is so important. You've heard the phrase, measure twice, cut once. For retirees, it's more like measure 5 times and then convert. One wrong move, a conversion that's too large, and the tax consequences are locked in. So here's the reality. Your Roth conversion amount impacts your income, which affects your eligibility for deductions, which circles back to your final tax bill. It's a full-on domino effect. The old fill up the tax bracket method, it's officially outdated. The new rules demand a new playbook. Yes, there are risks, hidden phase-outs, deduction traps, but there's also incredible opportunity. That wider, low tax bracket is a golden window, but it's not going to stay open forever. The best retirees are moving from guesstimating to calculating. They're building holistic plans that model how a conversion impacts every part of their tax return, from Medicare to SALT to anything else that could possibly be involved. Now here's one final thought. The tax code is always changing. What works today might not work tomorrow, but the one thing that never changes is the value of being proactive. By taking control of your tax strategy now, you're not just saving money, you're creating flexibility and peace of mind for the future. This is just one piece of your tax planning puzzle, so watch the next video to add that next missing puzzle piece. Make sure you understand exactly what's happening before hitting the green light on your tax planning. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.